This week on the Great British Sewing Bee, it was Kids Week. I don't have a huge amount of experience making kids' clothes and kids' costumes. I have made some costumes for kids, but generally most of the stuff that I make is for adults. So I'm hoping it's just a case of doing it smaller. This week in the pattern challenge, the sewers made a tutu. I have over the years worn many tutus whilst I was dancing, both at dance school and then after professionally. I never made a tutu, so I thought, do you know what? I think I'll make the tutu. The sewers had 4 hours to make the tutu. I don't have a pattern, so I'm going to make a pattern. So I've got to do that as well. I'm gonna try and do it within the 4 hours, even without the pattern. We'll see. The one great thing about this week is that I have a lot of netting and a fair amount of lycra, so didn't have to buy anything this week. I don't have fold over elastic like they used on Sewing Bee, but this is about being able to adapt it. So I do have some red elastic I'm going to use. So then I thought, well, if I've got red elastic, might as well use a red net for the skirt. So I'm going to use this net, but then I've decided to go for this super sparkly lycra. It might look a bit candy caney, a bit Christmassy with the red and white. So that's what I'm going for.
This lycra is beautiful. We've used it a lot before, and it has a holographic pattern on top of it. It's like a foil print, but it's still very stretchy. But it means that under stage lights, the lycra looks incredible. And against this red net and red elastic, I'm hoping that it'll have a really sparkly Christmas feel, even though no one's going to wear it on stage.
I've cut out my pieces. I've cut out my leotard pieces and my net to what I think, by Googling measurements for typical children and dance things. It's difficult because some people will tell you that there's a very standard way to make a leotard, but in actual fact, I think there's definitely more than one way to make a leotard, and perhaps maybe the way I make it is different from the way that it is made in this circumstance. And I was gutted actually that I couldn't find a pattern that seemed similar. And again, it might just be that I'm being really daft, but I just couldn't find a pattern that was like the one on Sewing Bee, so I made it up.
To make the tutu, the leotard pieces are cut from spandex. First, the gusset is sewn to the crotch of the front and back knicker pieces, and the side seams are overlocked. Next, a loop of elastic is inserted into each leg opening. The front and back bodice are overlocked at the side seams. Fold over elastic is sewn to the front neckline.
I have just spent God knows how long trying to rethread my overlocker, and I think that it's sewing okay. So I'm gonna just try, and I mean, I'm not kidding, like an hour maybe trying to thread my overlocker. So I had to just put everything on pause because they don't have to do that on the Sewing Bee. I am now about to start overlocking the knickers, which is like step one. I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing, but I wanted to try. I have fishing wire anyway because we use it for quick changes, for the seams in quick change dresses. So I do have fishing wire. So I'm going to try what they were doing in terms of fishing wire and zigzagging over the fishing wire to gather it as it goes. I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing with it though, because obviously Didn't see much instruction, but I think from what I can guess, you just keep the fishing wire in the middle whilst you zigzag.
A cut for each layer, progressively shorter from the top to bottom and stitched into loops. The top 2 layers are stitched together with a zigzag over fishing line, which is then pulled together.
You can't even see the fishing wire. Oh, it like pulls in together as it goes.
This is repeated for the bottom 2 layers.
I can almost feel the tutu makers of the world watching me butcher their art form and just being like, what is happening? I'm sorry. I understand that as an ex-dancer, this is an art form I should have learnt. One day I will make a proper tutu. This is a bit of a mess.
Bottom skirt layers are attached to the skirt with hem up and top layers with hem down.
They have little pleats in the front of their leotard, but I'm just gonna, I think it's a piece of elastic, but I'm not sure. So I'm just gonna do a little gather down the front so it matches what they did. The pattern challenge without a pattern is really hard. Oh, and then I ran out of bobbin. Of course I ran out of bobbin. Halfway through gathering with the fishing wire. I've got this red elastic that I'm going to sew on to the white for the straps. I know it's a big contrast to white, but I thought it's kind of Christmassy, kind of candy cane, and match the net.
Folded over the raw edge and stitched with a twin needle, which enables it to stretch.
I don't have what they have, which is a twin needle and fold over elastic. I've never sewn with a twin needle before, obviously other than overlockers and things, but I mean on my machine I've never sewn with a twin needle before, so I'm not sure how to do it. So that is something that I am gonna look up, and I was chatting to my mum about, and she was sort of looking through her needles on her machine, and we were trying to figure it all out. So that's something I'm going to have a go at, but it's not something I'm going to have a go at with this project, because with this project I'm just going to get the elastic on. I've put the elastic on and the little straps on the top of the leotard, or the top bit. So now what I need to do, like I said, I didn't have fold down elastic, but I had this red elastic, so looks good. I think what I would have done is actually fold it over and sew it. So sew it right side up, but I didn't. And it's all good. Red elastic. So now I need to get the tutu skirt on. This is the bit I've been dreading.
Bodice is pulled over the skirt, the waist seam is aligned and zigzag stitched. Then the fishing lines are removed to finish the tutu. Good morning.
Surprise, surprise, pink and turquoise. What a shot.
Okay. Judging by Sophie Willen's explanation, which I have watched, so probably about 1,000 times, the bottom layer is sewn upwards. So I want the bottom layer upwards. Just like that. So if that was like that, then when that was pulled through, that would be on the top and that would be right. This is where you do benefit from doing it with other people, because I don't know if this is right, but there's no one to ask. And I don't have a pattern, so let's just go for it. I think this is very much a trust the process moment, because I feel like this isn't going to work, but trust the process. Problem with when you're sewing like this, you have no idea what it's going to look like when it comes out. You just have to hope for the best. But I can understand why this looked stressful, because it feels stressful now. It would help if my lycra wasn't rolling, but hey. And then it said, lastly, take out the fishing wire. But the fishing wire is so sewn in now. How are you even supposed to find it? Turn it around, see what it looks like. Boom. That looks like it could be a tutu. Woo! The tutu is finished, but I don't have a child to try it on or a child mannequin here in my studio. So instead, we have the bear. The bear is modelling the tutu for us. That was this week's pattern challenge, and I have been trying to do all the sewing bee challenges. So if you want to see any of my other makes, or makes that are actually on mannequins, then make sure you head over to my channel and check out my other videos about the sewing bee and some of the other makes and costumes that I do.